IEN ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੂਲ ਨਿਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਵਿਰੋਧ ਸੰਯੁਕਤ ਰਾਜ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਹਾਊਸ ਗੈਸ ਪ੍ਰਦੂਸ਼ਣ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਣ ਜਾਂ ਦੇਰੀ ਕਰਨ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵ ਪਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਮੌਜੂਦਾ ਜਲਵਾਯੂ ਸੰਕਟ ਦੇ ਮੱਦੇਨਜ਼ਰ ਸਵਦੇਸ਼ੀ ਲੋਕ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਦਰਸ਼ਿਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਵਦੇਸ਼ੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਦਾਅਵਾ ਨਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਉੱਚ ਨੈਤਿਕ ਮਿਆਰ ਨੂੰ ਬਰਕਰਾਰ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ ਬਲਕਿ ਜਲਵਾਯੂ ਤਬਦੀਲੀ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰਨ ਤੇ ਨਿਕਾਸ ਨੂੰ ਘਟਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਮਾਰਗ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰਦਾਨ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ।
The Indigenous Resistance Against Carbon report examined how much fossil fuels has been stopped due to Indigenous resistance across what is so-called the United States and Canada over the past 10 years. And through evaluating 25 different frontline fights that have been led by Indigenous peoples, we've shown that our struggle for free, prior, and informed consent, our struggle to recognize Indigenous rights to its fullest degree, has stopped or delayed over a quarter of these countries' greenhouse gas emissions. And what it proves is that Indigenous rights, by recognizing Indigenous rights, we not only hold ourselves to a higher standard of society, but we are protecting Mother Earth at the same time. A lot of us know like these big marquee fights like Trans Mountain, like the Trans Mountain Extension Line, the Keystone XL. But there are so many different struggles all across the map where Indigenous peoples are stepping up in defense of the sacredness of Mother Earth and the water. Fights like the Tech Frontier mine was a huge successful campaign to shut down that mine up in the tar sands. You have the protection of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge up in Alaska and northern Canada. There was a number of fights down in Texas in the Gulf Coast region. You know, the Texas. People say Texas is the Alberta of the United States, or the vice versa. It goes back and forth. I mean, it's the heart of the fossil fuel industry in the United States, and there's Native folks right in the heart of it who've been fighting different forms of extraction and pipelines and export facilities there for generations. And so this report vindicates those efforts and really shows that we are not alone, and that the strategies that we're seeing executed by frontline land defenders and water protectors does and is having an impact. Make sure that we are addressing the right frontline fights and the big picture. But we ran the data, and there's a difference between natural gas and oil, right? Those are obviously different things. But what we did is there is a greenhouse gas emissions equivalent where we can gauge them equally about how much greenhouse gases they're putting out. And so we looked at all the different projects and went off the numbers the corporations were giving us and said, like, okay, Keystone XL was proposed to send over half a million barrels of oil a day. So we ran the numbers and said, okay, how much greenhouse gas emissions does this equal? And that's how we came up with the information for the report. And we went across the board of all these different projects and just ran the numbers, and it's pretty significant. I mean, billions of tons